Hey folks, welcome back to another Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Luddite, which is brought to you by Cogito Ergo Meeple. It's for 1 to 99 players, ages 16 and up, and games generally run about 20 to 40 minutes. As a Luddite, you will be hacking into the neural networks of the Ned automatons. These bionic dog-like creatures are capable of performing almost any complex task to which they are assigned, and as such, have begun to replace vast swaths of the human working population. As a Luddite, you will work to destroy these infernal machines and ensure employment for your fellow humans. Each game of Luddite involves hacking into an individual Ned's neural network, trying to do as much damage to its systems as possible, and then escaping before the timer runs out and the Ned's countermeasures kick into action. The damage you do to Ned is indicated by the damage points you have accumulated by the end of the game when the clock runs out. Luddite is a roll and write campaign style game where you will be introduced to new rules as you read through the graphic novel. You can read the rules in advance, however, the best way to experience the game is to read the graphic novel and then read the pages of the rulebook it tells you to read, leading you through the story and campaign. So join me as we take down the Ned together. First and foremost, let's take a look at this graphic novel. Now, I only got a taste of basically this chapter 1, but the artwork and the story is really fantastic to draw you in to what you're going to be doing in the game, and the theme is just dripping with theme. However, you could bypass all that and still just play the main board and the roll and write aspect of the game, but I like the story aspect, and as you finish different chapters, it'll tell you which of the maps that you're going to be introducing into the game and how the rules might change. There's icons associated with the different maps and which ones you're going to be playing, and the book is really clear about which ones you're going to be jumping into. So that is a fantastic aspect, but you could play either way, and each player will have the same identical map for each of the chapters that you're moving through, but you are trying to do the most damage and take down the Ned. And there's multiple ways to play. You have the solo experience leading you through the story, the campaign mode, you have competitive, cooperative. All of these work really well, and for me, I like the cooperative aspect, and even playing solo was a ton of fun because of the story elements. Like any good roll and write, you're going to be rolling dice, and these are communal dice where each player will get to use the value, and these dice that I'm showing you here are just prototype. Obviously, they're going to have custom dice for the game, which look awesome. So anyway, you're going to be rolling these dice, and one of the dice will always be required, one of the values, to mark off your timer. So there's a timer module on your board, and you'll have to mark off those spaces as you move through the game. It is a race against the clock. So you have your Ned module, you have an enter and an exit. So you have to move through this module and get out before the clock runs out. So it is a timer, but it is up to you how best to use the dice values in that timer module. And there are resources in this game. There are 3 main types. You've got credits, which are probably the most powerful of your resources. You've got multi-tools and energy. Now, there's a handy guide on how you use each of these different types of resources, and you'll be circling them when you have them, crossing them off when they're used, and so forth. So you only have a finite number of resources you can use through the course of the game. But the guide will lead you through. Like I said, credits are going to be adding additional dice. And when you spend your multi-tools, you'll be able to manipulate the value of these dice. So they're really handy, and of course, energy has multitude of uses. And you're going to be gaining these resources in all kinds of different ways, through the Ned module, through the roll bonus module, and the hack module. So each of these things play into each other in order for you to be the most successful hacker in the system. So it's up to you how you best use the values of your dice to manipulate the system. Taking a close look at the roll bonuses, this is a great way to get resources. You cross off the value and get the resources above, but there's also a way to do damage to the Ned by crossing off dice here and accumulating damage for the end of the game. You only do damage at the very end of the game, and you have a module on your board for that as well, putting all the different damage values and then totaling it out. Now, your NED module. This might be the most important module, but there are others that play into it. You have the switching module and you have the hack module, which are going to all augment what you're doing here. This NED module is going to allow you to get some resources. There's caches, and this is another way you're going to be doing damage to the system. But in order to activate those nodes, you're going to have to use the hack module to do that. And there's icons, very clear which ones you can move into and so forth. But the dice that were rolled, you have to use to manipulate and move around this module as well. But there's switches as well. So some of the nodes will allow you to move in if it's off, if it's on, and if it's either or, and if it's both. So there's all kinds of different ways that you're going to be moving through here, using the switch module to allow you to move into certain areas, and then using the hack module to hack certain icons so you can land there and do massive damage to the system at the end of the game. Now, the blue dice here, those are locked as well. So not only switches have to be in play, but you have to have that dice available, and you mark all of these nodes off in the box in the right corner. So as you can get a sense here, there are different ways to manipulate the system, but everything is really integrated, which they did a nice job making you feel like you're actually hacking this system and moving around, doing damage to it and so forth. And I really like the aspect that you have so many choices. And again, using your resources in order to get more dice so you can do even more things in your turn, but you have a finite number of these resources. And then at the end of the game, if you run out of time and you haven't exited from the main NED node here, or the main NED module, you are going to be out of luck and you're not going to do any damage to the system. So you have to get exited, you have to get out in order to do that damage and calculate at the end of the game. You have the nice damage module that you'll be putting all your values into, totaling it up to see how much damage you did at the end of the game and so forth. So it really does, again, like I said, all play into each other and how best to use these modules to help you through the system. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form. So keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, I only got a small taste of this game. I got the first chapter, the first board, and I like the fact that it's going to be evolving as you move through the story. The different boards will be different, the different options to you. I can't wait to try some more of that. But this first bit, the story drew me in. I really liked how the systems integrate. Like I said, it feels like you're hacking the system. Some interesting choices there for sure. But folks, ultimately, if it looks like something of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it for me. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.